Hello and welcome, or welcome back. If you are new here, my name's Rain, this is my craft channel, and I try to release different crafts each week, so hit that subscription button because you never know what's coming along. This week, I'm back with some box frame dioramas, and this one is centered around a fairy garden, complete with magical little rooms with individual lighting, of course, and also some other little magical elements that I've added in here. Let's go through it all together and let's start at the beginning. As always, I start off with a box frame and I've already gone ahead and put in the electronics so that they can be switched on at the side. And here's the little bark pieces that inspired this week's theme for the diorama. A friend of mine had these and was getting rid of them, although I didn't know what they were used for prior to this, and I was a little bit dubious about some of those holes in the wood. I kept them in a sealed box on their own for a little while, and they seemed to be fine. Now, I was just rearranging them in different patterns. I didn't really know how I was going to build this up, but I knew I had some of these other little cut-out wooden pieces which I was going to use within this project. So I was really just experimenting and seeing how this was all going to fit within this box. After letting my craft gremlins play around for a while, I decided to make a start on the doorway to what will be a little entrance room of the fairy house. These little ornate wooden pieces I've got here came out of another kit that was meant to build just one project. I bought that kit, dismantled it and used the different parts in 5 or 6 different projects that I've made. So I definitely got my usage out of it. But I do appreciate that not everybody's going to have these sort of things lying around. Use whatever you can, use whatever you find. You may even find a doorway that looks a little bit prettier or better than the one that I've created here. When I was happy with the doorway that I wanted, I knew that I had to carve away at this little piece of bark in order to set the door frame into it and make it look like this room had been built into the tree trunk. Now, when it comes to crafting, my toxic trait has got to be that I think I can do pretty much anything. I'm no wood carver, and I'm sure that anyone that does carve wood is out and viewing this video is out there screaming at me for the way that I'm doing it. So please don't copy techniques here, but the idea is pretty much transferable. I knew that I needed this doorway set into the wood, so I chipped away tiny bits. I was being careful and I took my time. I was really aware that this wood was brittle and I really didn't want to break any of it because I didn't have any backup pieces that I could use. So I took my time and slowly carved out the hole that I wanted, and also the inset part in order for the wooden die cutout to sit into. And once I was happy that all those pieces fit in nice and snugly and sat how I wanted them to, I went ahead and had a little tidy up before I move on to gluing them all into place. And here you can see I've gathered them all together. I've got the little inset there, the ornate inset that's going to go act as the door frame, and I've also got the little platform that's going to jut out from that door frame, acting as a landing pad, I suppose, for any of the little flying creatures that wish to visit. And there you can see, all glued together and ready for the next stage. Now, if you've seen some of my other box frame dioramas, you will know that I do like to have some little secret compartments, hidden rooms, interesting objects to really sort of bring these dioramas to life and to give you a reason to investigate and look deeper. Here I've just found some other little die-cut pieces of wood that came out of the same kit as the doorway, and I've simply put some PVA glue onto the back of them and stuck them onto some tracing paper so that it will diffuse any of the light behind them. These will of course act like windows in the final project. You can see that even at this point in the project, I'm not 100% certain on where all these wooden pieces are going to go. I knew what I wanted it to look like, one cohesive tree trunk, so I was just having a little play around and seeing which pieces of these wooden puzzle pieces I could fit in and make this look like one cohesive piece. Now, if I'm honest, this part of the project, trying to fit it all in and figure out which way for them to sit, probably took me well over an hour to do. But once I was happy and I knew where I wanted them, I could go ahead and cut out those window holes for each of the individual pieces. And if you take your time with this part, you'll end up with a nice little snug fit for that window frame to fit into. Now all 4 pieces of bark had their respective windows or doorways cut into them, I knew that I needed to set these lights so that they sat behind their respective windows or rooms. Now for my LEDs, I use a simple set of LEDs that I bought online that comes with its own battery pack. The only thing that I do differently is that I rewire them to the switches on the side of the box frame itself, and it's easy to access once it's on the wall. To change the batteries, I have to take the box frame diorama off the wall, simply turn it around and change the little cell batteries in the back of the flat battery pack that sits on the back of the diorama. Now the battery packs are flat and they sit against the back of the frame of the diorama, causing no problem when they're on the wall. So this method has worked for me so far, and I'm sure I'll use it again in the future. Although if you do feel comfortable enough just to rewire the whole battery pack into the frame, sure, go ahead and do that too. As you can see there, all I've created is a little wall and a room area so that we can see in through that entrance door. Just checking that it all lines up correctly. And I'm just now placing the lights where I want them to shine through on the window and getting them set into the right place, so it gives it the impression that those windows are windows that lead into rooms and that there's other things going on in and behind them. And one thing I was concerned about this project was lights shining where they shouldn't be shining. So lights coming out the top of the tree trunk and things like that when I needed them contained into their rooms. All I've done here is mix up some of the ground cork substance that I've used in other dioramas with a little bit of PVA, and I'm just going around the inside edge of the window to make sure that it's all locked in and that I was going to have no light shining through any parts. Again, just to create the illusion that these windows were carved and built into the actual log or into the actual bark itself. Now I could have left the lights the way they were, but I wanted the rooms to be different colours. After all, these are fairies and I'm sure there's magic involved somewhere. So I did use glass paint on my lights. I must admit, I used a pink glass paint on the far left window, which I think in the end kind of looks a little bit red. I wasn't 100% happy with my colour placements on this project, I wasn't. But it was a learning curve, and in future I will either try to get a better pink glass paint or find another way of making those lights shine the colour that I want. But here I'm just going in with a bit of normal acrylic brown paint and just making sure that all those back areas are covered so that none of it shines through, and to give illusion of depth to this project. And now that's all pretty much done, I'm just going to put the frame aside and let that dry while we move on to the inside of that little reception room I've been talking about. Now, I'm not too sure what kind of pictures fairies would have on their walls, but I looked in my stash and I found these tiny little bug pictures, and all I've done is I've taken a couple of coffee stirring sticks, I've dyed them with a little bit of ink to give them a sort of old wood look, and I'm literally using a bit of PVA glue and sticking them directly onto the little pictures. Now, this can be a little bit fiddly, but when they're done, they do look absolutely brilliant. I'll do a set of several of these, which I'll show you in a minute. And again, just be putting on the PVA glue and allowing those coffee sticks to dry. Once they are all finished, I will stick them all to a little bit of perspex on the front of them, just to give the illusion that they are glass or that they're box frames that they've been put on the wall. And there we go. Teeny tiny box frames to go inside a box frame diorama. But don't they look cute? I particularly love the caterpillar one. And while that was all drying, I did find some other little teeny tiny bits and bobs to go inside this diorama, and I also found some papers that I thought would work well as wallpaper or wall coverings in this particular diorama. Now this back piece that I'm putting in here, I felt that it sort of gave barky old leaf type vibe, and I've just cut out two little pieces at the top to allow those lights that I've set in there to sit freely. Now initially, you can see that little light sticking out at the top. Initially, I was going to have this as like a porch light coming out of the front door, but when I put it together, I didn't like the way that it looked, and that bright light sticking out the door kind of took too much of the focus away from the door itself. So in the end, I do decide to put that light back up and under and use it as an indoor light. And I also find some tiny little glass marbles that I stick to the front of the door. And once I put a hole on the other side of them, they kind of act as like prisms for the light anyway, and the light shines through. And there you can see all our little box frames looking lovely on the wall. And I've added a little shelf, a couple of little bits of beads, some grass that I had, some more foliage, and another little door to imply that it's going into another room at the back there. Adding this room and all the little tiny little objects that go into it really do help to build the illusion that there are other things going on in the other rooms behind the windows that I've created. And there you can see I've stuck a bit of black card at the top of that piece of bark. Again, just not wanting those lights to shine anywhere other than through the windows themselves. And here I am just putting it all together a little bit like a puzzle piece, and making sure that those lights line up with those windows. Now that I've completed the room and I'm happy with the placement of my bark pieces, knowing that those LEDs are shining through the window, we're going to need some greenery to turn this into a garden. So I gathered all the plastic plant bits that I had lying around, brought them together to see if they would work on this project. Now you can see there I've put on a little shelf for the outdoor window, and I've also gone in and around some of this bark with some green moss. That really did help sort of bring it all together and tie the project together as well. I'd go in with this brown substance, which I use effectively like dirt, and just putting it in and around the card places and hiding some of that card, and making sure that the bark goes right round to the edge of the frame, again just to make this look like one solid piece. And once I knew that was done, all that was really left for me to do was to find homes for each one of these little individual plastic parts. I had a giant shell in my collection, which I figured that if I put on here might look like a little snail shell, making everything else seem larger than it actually is. And I think for this project it worked well. I had a few more little flourishes on the outside, like some flashing green lights, and also a little plant pot on the shelf. And we're almost done. And there you have it, a box frame diorama of a fairy garden, complete with a reception hall with interesting little box frames on the inside, and 3 magical glowing windows, implying that there are fairy rooms, who knows, even a fairy party going on the inside. If I'm honest, the idea for this diorama really did come out of the blue, and like I said, was inspired by those 4 pieces of bark that my friend gave me. But I'm glad that he did, because now I've managed to create a little fairy house, and I absolutely love it. I had another friend over that visited me the other day, and she thought this was amazing. So yeah, it's always great to have that positive feedback about my little projects. And eventually I will get to show you the whole wall that I've created of all the different dioramas. I really want to try and create several different dioramas with different themes and different backgrounds before I show you my whole wall that I've created of them. Now, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Do go ahead and leave me a little comment if any of this has inspired you, or perhaps maybe there's an element of this that you would like to try out in another project. I love getting feedback, so any information from you guys out there, or perhaps any projects that you would like to see, I'd love to hear from you. But as always, I have been Rain, you have been fabulous, and I hope to catch you again soon. Bye bye.